It was 3:14 in the morning, the kind of hour that feels like the whole world has abandoned you. Emma was on her fourth lap around the living room, her 7-week-old son, Oliver, pressed against her chest, screaming with the full force of his tiny lungs. She had tried everything: feeding, rocking, the white noise machine, the swaddle. Nothing worked. Her husband was asleep on the couch from sheer exhaustion. She was alone, running on fumes, starting to wonder if she was cut out for this at all. And then Bo walked in. Bo was their 3-year-old border collie mix. He had been keeping a respectful distance from the baby ever since Oliver came home from the hospital 2 weeks earlier, watching from doorways, curious but cautious. But that night, something shifted. Bo crossed the living room, sat down right at Emma's feet, looked up at Oliver, and began to sing. That is the only word for it. A low, soft, rhythmic whimper. Not distressed, not demanding almost melodic. A sound Emma had never heard from him in 3 years. Oliver stopped crying within seconds. He turned his head toward the sound. His little fists, balled up in fury a moment ago, slowly open-eyed. His breathing changed, and then, gradually, he closed his eyes. Emma stood absolutely still, afraid to breathe. Then she sank down onto the floor, back against the couch, and let herself cry, the quiet, relieved kind. Bo licked her hand once. Then he lay down beside her feet, as if to say, I am here. I have always been here. Everything is going to be okay. If you have a dog and a baby under the same roof, you have probably had a moment like this. A moment so unexpected, so tender, so quietly profound, that you found yourself questioning whether your dog understood far more than you ever gave them credit for. The answer, as it turns out, is almost certainly yes, and the science behind it is even more remarkable than the story. The ancient bond that was built for exactly this dogs did not become humanity's closest animal companion by accident. Over roughly 15,000 years of coevolution, dogs and humans developed something that no other two species on the planet share: a genuine, mutual, emotionally reciprocal relationship. We did not just domesticate dogs. We changed each other. Dogs evolved to read us. They track our gaze in ways that wolves, their closest relatives, simply do not. They understand human point-in gestures. They can distinguish between a happy human face and an angry one. They respond to the tone of our voices with neurological reactions that mirror what they would feel in response to emotional signals from other dogs. And most remarkably of all, they appear to genuinely care about our well-being. Research published in the journal Learning and Behavior confirmed that dogs will actively move toward a crying or distressed human. Not because they are trained to, not because they expect a reward, but because something inside them compels it. Empathy, in its most fundamental form. When a new baby enters a home, a dog's extraordinary sensitivity is activated at every level. The smell of the house changes dramatically. A newborn's scent is unlike anything else, a combination of biology, milk, amniotic residue, and the particular hormonal signature of a new human being. Dogs, whose sense of smell is estimated to be up to 100,000 times more sensitive than ours, are receiving an enormous flood of information about this new family member from the very first moment. And what the dog's ancient brain interprets, in most cases, is not threat or competition. It is need, smallness, vulnerability. The instinct that switches on in a well-socialized dog around a newborn is not territorial or predatory. It is parental, protective. The same instinct that moves a dog to carry a puppy gently in its mouth, without leaving a mark. What the crying really means to your dog, the sound of a crying baby, is two human adults, one of the most acutely stressful sounds in existence. Evolution designed it that way. A baby's cry is pitched and patterned specifically to be impossible to ignore, to trigger an urgent caregiving response in the adults nearby. Dogs hear that cry too, and they hear more of it than we do, because their hearing range extends well beyond ours. They can detect frequencies and nuances in sound that are completely inaudible to the human ear. When a dog turns its head and walks toward a crying baby, it is processing a sound landscape that we cannot fully imagine. Many animal behaviorists believe that the pitch and urgency of a human infant's cry closely resembles the distress calls of a puppy. To a dog, the baby is not just a strange-smelling new human. It is, in some sense, a creature that needs the same kind of help a lost or frightened pup would need. And dogs, especially those with a strong nurturing disposition, respond accordingly. This is why you see dogs who have never shown a caregiving instinct in their lives suddenly becoming devoted, attentive, almost fiercely gentle around a newborn. The baby activates something ancient and deep, something that was, in a very real sense, always there, just waiting for the right cue. Emma's border collie, Bo, was responding to Oliver's cry in exactly this way. The sound reached him, triggered something primal, and he answered with the only tool he had. His voice, a soft, rhythmic vocalization that said, in the language of dogs, what no human word can quite translate, something between a lullaby and a promise. Stories from the 3 a.m. trenches. You're an exhausted new parent. It's the middle of the night, and the baby just won't stop crying. You're not alone. But what if I told you there's often someone else in the house who understands, even when you're too tired to notice? All around the world, parents are sharing incredible stories about their dogs and their babies. Moments that happen in the dark when no one else is watching. Take Natalie and her golden retriever. Sunny, her son, had severe colic for months. Those nights were brutal. But every single night, Sunny started sleeping on the floor, right under the baby's bassinet. And on the rare nights Sunny wasn't there, those were always the worst nights. Natalie has no scientific explanation. She just knows what she saw. Then there's David and his rescue mutt, Pepper. Pepper never cared much for kids, but when their daughter was born, she became a different dog. She wouldn't leave the baby's side. One day, she started barking urgently at David's wife. A frantic, but not aggressive sound. His wife went to check, and found their daughter had rolled face down in her crib. Peppa knew something was wrong before the baby monitor even went off, and Yuki, who was breastfeeding her baby, feeling completely overwhelmed, exhausted, and starting to cry. Ersiba Inumochi, who had never done it before, climbed right onto the couch, put her head on Yuki's lap, and stayed there for the whole feed. She's done it every night since. Yuki says her dog is what keeps her sane. What connects all these stories isn't magic, it's attunement. These dogs are paying attention. They notice, they respond. They show up. If you've seen a bond like this between your dog and your baby, you're not imagining it, and you are definitely not alone. In our community, thousands of dog-loving parents share these exact kinds of heartwarming moments every single day. If you want to find support, tips, and a group of people who just get it, click the link in the description to share your story and join us. Now, it's easy to just call these stories heartwarming mysteries, but the science behind it is absolutely fascinating. Researchers now believe that dogs have a form of what's called theory of mind. That's the ability to understand that other beings have their own feelings and thoughts. They know when you're sad or scared. En somme level, they know when you need help. And it's not just what they see, it's what they smell. Dogs can smell the stress hormone cortisol with incredible accuracy. A stressed out parent and a crying baby release chemicals into the air that a dog's nose picks up long before we might even realize how bad things are. That might be why they often show up before we even call them. They've already been told something is wrong in the language of scent. Plus, there's the pet effect. When we're around animals we're bonded with, our bodies actually change. Our own stress levels drop, and feel-good hormones like oxytocin rise. Our heart rate and blood pressure go down. For a parent on the edge of panic at 3 a.m., the calm presence of a warm dog isn't just comforting, it's practically medicinal. And this works for babies, too. Studies show that infants are less stressed when a familiar animal is nearby. The warmth, the steady breathing, the low vibration of a dog snoozing close by, all of this has a real, calming effect on a baby's nervous system. This special bond doesn't end when they're babies, either. The relationship between a child and a dog who grow up together is one of the most powerful things a family can experience. Kids raised with dogs actually have stronger immune systems, with lower rates of asthma and allergies. It seems the microbiome that dogs carry helps to train a child's developing immune system. The emotional benefits are just as huge. Children who grow up with dogs tend to show more empathy and have better social skills. They learn how to read nonverbal cues because that's how dogs communicate. They learn gentleness and respect. They learn that love can be shown just by being present. But most importantly, they learn they are not alone. A child with a dog has a constant companion who asks for nothing but their company. A friend who greets them with pure, uncomplicated joy every single day. For so many adults who grew up with dogs, that bond is one of the most beautiful and formative parts of their entire childhood. So, how can you help your dog and baby build this incredible bond? It starts with careful introductions, positive reinforcement, and creating a safe space for both of them. Never leave them unsupervised, and always teach your child how to be gentle. By managing their interactions and rewarding calm, positive behavior, you can set the stage for a friendship that will enrich your child's life in countless ways. Thanks so much for watching. If you have a story about your dog and baby, we would love to hear it in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more content on building happy families with our furry friends. Bringing a new baby home is an incredible moment, but when you already have a four-legged family member, it adds a whole other layer. The relationship between your dog and your baby can be one of the most beautiful things to watch grow, but it requires a bit of thoughtful guidance, especially in those first few months. So, where do you start? Actually, you start before the baby even comes home. Bring something from the hospital that has your newborn's scent on it, like a little hat or a blanket. Let your dog sniff it and get used to this new smell in a calm environment. This simple step can make that first face-to-face introduction so much smoother. When it's time for the big day, keep the energy low. You might be excited and a little nervous, but your dog will feed off your emotions. So, stay calm and steady. Let your dog approach the baby on their own terms, at their own pace. Don't force them to get close. Let their natural curiosity lead the way. A relaxed, unpressured first meeting sets a positive tone for everything that follows. Now, one of the biggest challenges is the chaos of a newborn schedule. But try your best to protect your dog's routine. Their walks, their meal times, their playtime, these things are the foundation of their security. A dog whose needs are being met is a happy, well-adjusted dog. And that's the kind of dog who has the patience and gentleness for a new baby. And here's the most important rule of all. Never, ever leave them alone together. This isn't about not trusting your dog. It's about recognizing that babies are unpredictable, and even the most loving dog can get startled or over. Constant supervision is non-negotiable. It is the absolute cornerstone of a safe and loving relationship. While you're supervising, look for the good moments. When your dog is calm and gentle around the baby, let them know they're doing a great job. A quiet good boy, a gentle scratch behind the ears, or a small treat reinforces that behavior. Dogs live to please us, so tell them when they're getting it right. Also, learn to read their signs of stress. Things like excessive yawning, lip licking, or looking away can mean your dog is feeling overwhelmed and needs some space. Respecting their limits builds a deep and lasting trust. I want to share a story about a new mom named Emma. 3 months after her son, Oliver, was born, she was feeling the exhaustion. Her dog, Bo, seemed a bit distant at first, but one night, as she sat on the floor, completely worn out, Oliver started to fuss. Before Emma could even move, Bo got up, walked over, and gently rested his head near the baby. Oliver immediately calmed down. A few weeks later, Emma wrote about it online. She said, "I used to think the hard part was managing a baby and a dog. Now I see they manage each other. Oliver is calmer when Bo is near, and Bo becomes this softer, quieter version of himself around Oliver. I think they are teaching each other something I never could." Her post went viral, shared over 40,000 times in a week. Why? Because she captured a feeling so many of us have experienced in those quiet 3 a.m. moments. That feeling that you're not doing this alone. That your dog, the one who was there before all of this, has quietly decided to be there for all of it. Your dog doesn't have a word for newborn. They just know that this tiny, vulnerable new being means the entire world to you. And because it matters to you, it matters to them. Completely, without question. That's the incredible bond we share with them. They have evolved for thousands of years to do one thing better than anything else. To love us, to read our emotions, and to show up for us in every season of life is patiently the most magnificent and terrifying one of all. The one that starts when a baby comes home, and a dog, without a single command, decides to help carry the weight of it all. If this story felt familiar, if you've had your own moment with your dog and your baby, you know how real this is. Share this video with every new parent or dog lover you know who might need a reminder that sometimes love walks on 4 legs. And please, drop your own story in the comments below. We'd love to read it. Thanks for watching.